Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakalyeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastothyam Vayate Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Invoke the grace and blessings of the entire Guru Parampara and of Devi Saraswati, as we reflect on her stories, her life, her teachings. Okay. So far, we have seen Goddess Durga, Durga Devi, and we've seen Lakshmi Devi. Now we're entering into the realms of Devi Saraswati. So who is this Devi Saraswati? Her name is Sarasva. Sara means essence. Swa means one's essence. Saraswati, the one who gives the knowledge of one's true essence, is Saraswati. Saraswati also means the one which has a river, the one which has pools of water. Saras means a body of water. So Saraswati, the one who has a body of water, the one who's flowing. So she is also a river. And Saraswati has many different names. So can you tell me what are the names of Saraswati? Sharada, yeah. What else? Medha, yeah. Vak, yeah. Bharati, Vani, Gayatri, right? What names are? Meena is more of Parvati, of Durga. Brahmi, Vidya. So all of these names, Sandhya is also Saraswati. Anything associated with that knowledge, that Vidya, is the name of Saraswati. Yeah?
What about Kirvani or Kirvani?
Yeah, that's also Saraswati. Yeah, that's also Saraswati. Vagishwari, sometimes there's Sri Vidya, all the Vidya. For Lakshmi, that's all Saraswati, right? For Lakshmi, that Raja Lakshmi, Jaya Lakshmi, all of that is Lakshmi. All the Vidyas are Saraswati. So what is the symbolism of Goddess Saraswati? Now, her look is different. So we've come from Durga Devi's look, which is very strong and fearless and brave, to Lakshmi Devi's look, which is very grand, very beautiful, extravagant. Now Saraswati Devi's look is very simple because she has only one goal, and that is knowledge. So she is wearing a white sari, no red, no pink, no green, white sari, simple necklace. And she has with her 4 hands. 2 of her hands are holding a veena, one hand the japa mala, and one hand the Veda. And her vahana is the swan. And sometimes she's seen sitting also on a white lotus. If you see in the cover of the books that we have, this is the Saraswati you see. So now her whole persona is very interesting. The white sari resembles purity, so utmost purity, because now she's sattva. She's sattva, and she will also remove that sattva. And the veena that she has is to show the tuning or the harmony required by the mind and the intellect. Because very often the mind and the intellect are in dissonance. The intellect says to do something and then the mind wants to go somewhere else. The intellect says, okay, sleep early, and the mind wants to do so many other things. So very often they're in dissonance. This harmony, the two hands are the mind and the intellect. And when the mind and the intellect are playing the same rhythm, that is the veena that Saraswati Devi holds. Then she holds the japa mala, which means that her mind is always on divine thoughts. Because when we do japa, we're not doing japa on chair, table, table. Now we're doing japa on the name of Bhagavan or Bhagavati, right? So her mind is always on divine thoughts. And she holds the Vedas. So here, see, because the Vedas were originally orated, right? And then they were on palm leaves. So she embodies all of the wisdom of the Vedas. The Vedas is not just the Upanishads, the Vedas is all spheres of knowledge. So you have arts, you have sciences, you have weaponry, you have maths, astronomy, astrology. So all bodies of knowledge are in the hands of Saraswati Devi. And that's why people who want to learn something, they always invoke her, be it in the field of dance, in the field of music, in the field of, spiritual knowledge. All of them invoke her. And in music also, the first note is sa. That is only Saraswati. That is Saraswati. And then she sits on this white lotus. And lotus, we have already seen the significance in Goddess Lakshmi. So I won't repeat that, but it's the same thing. That even if there are muddy waters, she's ever untainted by it. She's ever detached. And she has this Vahana, which is the swan. We know the swan is a mystic bird that can tell the difference between milk and water, that separates the real from the unreal, the truth from the untrue. So Saraswati Devi's vision is very clear, very, very clear. This is a symbolism of Saraswati Devi. Now, how did she come to be? So Brahmaji created the world. And when he created the world, it was so silent. It was just all of the beings and everything. It was completely silent. Nothing was there. And out of his meditation, there emerged Saraswati Devi in her sari with her Veera and Japamala and Vedas. And what she did was she brought sound and rhythm to the world. Because there was no rhythm, there was no sound, it was completely quiet. So she created the whole harmony of sound, of music. So she's also known as Shabda Brahma. That Brahman in sound form is Saraswati. And she created harmony with all the beings, animals, plants, so that everybody had a way of communicating with each other. Because not everybody can communicate in silence. Very few people can communicate in silence. Very intuitive people. When you look at them, they know what you're talking about and you know what they're saying. Right? Very few people we can do that with. Most people, we need some action, some speech, some look. That is all Saraswati. So all the vowels, consonants, speech, body movements, creativity, sound is Saraswati Devi. And she brought life to the world. So Brahmaji said, Saraswati Devi, you should reside in three things. Number one, on the tip of the tongue of those who are very wise and pure. Two, you should reside as the river. And three, you should always reside with me. Because when I create something, there should always be knowledge. So she's the goddess of wisdom, goddess of knowledge, learning, creativity, speech, memory. All of this is Goddess Saraswati. So the first emergence of Saraswati we see is Saraswati, the river. So after she has been created by Brahmaji, she flows as a river. The earliest civilization known is the Saraswati civilization, about the records go back to about 9,000, 10,000 years ago, but it could be even before that. So they say that the Indus Valley civilization is actually the Saraswati civilization. So all of our Vedas, Upanishad mantras, all of that was given on the banks of Saraswati. Great sages like Vasishta Rishi, Vishwamitra Rishi, all of them were in the banks of Saraswati. And in Mahabharata, when Balarama did his Tirtha Yatra, he did it along the banks of Saraswati. So there's many mentions of her. And the origin of river Saraswati is the Himalayas, and it flowed through Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So these areas it flowed, and eventually that river dried up. So it was a huge body of water, but it dried up. So that is known as the Saraswati River. Now there's one story of this river between Vasishta and Vishwamitra. Now, you know, Vishwamitra Rishi was always jealous of Vasishta Rishi because Vasishta Rishi he was Brahma Rishi, you know, he's very pure and everything, lots of spiritual powers. Vishwamitra Rishi was always jealous. So Vishwamitra Rishi, once he called on Saraswati, the river Saraswati, and he said, I want you to carry off Vasishta Rishi. He's sitting down in meditation. Carry him off and bring him here. Now she was thinking what to do because she knows how noble Vasishta Rishi is. So why should she carry him up to Vishwamitra Rishi? But if she displeases Vishwamitra Rishi, Rishi's curse. You know, this is what they do. So she said, I need to avoid that somehow, but let me see. So she carried Vasishta Rishi. She carried Vasishta Rishi towards Vishwamitra Rishi, then she carried him away. So she saved Vasishta Rishi. So she said, she kind of teased Vishwamitra Rishi and then she carried him away. And Vishwamitra Rishi cursed her and said that this river will be a river full of blood and nobody will come here. So Saraswati River actually turned to a river full of blood, complete blood, and nobody went there. And Vasishta Rishi, you know, he really appreciated Saraswati Devi for standing by what is right. What happened then is some sages came to the river and they said, what happened? They invoked Saraswati Devi and said, what happened to you? And she told them the story. They said, don't worry, we will pray. And all of the sages came together and through all of their tapasya, they invoked Bhagwan to make Saraswati's river's waters clear and pure and pristine again. And that's how her rivers again began to flow very purely. So this is Saraswati Devi as a river. Now, Saraswati Devi, we also know, is the goddess of speech because all sound originated from her. Now, in her form here, you will see actually the entire science of speech. In Bhagavad Gita, there's a very famous verse, chapter 17. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam hitam chayat swadhyaya bhyasanam chayva vamaya tapa uchyate. What that says is, this is speech. Speech is anudvegakaram, that which does not disturb. Does not disturb. No foul language, no hate speech, no rough speech. Sometimes, you know, when we speak, people become very foul, very harsh. So anudvegakaram means no foul language. Even when we text also, there's a dot, there's exclamation point, there's caps, and we don't know what the other person is saying. And speech is something that is so important because speech can make or break a relationship. These relationships can break just because of some words exchanged. Because of some words exchanged, people don't talk to each other for years. For years together, they stop talking. Because of speech, what happens? Wrong news gets reported, right? I think it was United Airlines, at one point, there was some misinformation about their records and their stock completely crashed. It was all false information. So now we have to be so careful because it takes 2 seconds for a piece of information to go. You put it on Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram, and so many thousands of people have access. Huh? So speech is that powerful that one word can make or break not only a person, not only a relationship, but literally economies. Literally, fake news, wrong news can turn things around. That's how powerful speech actually is. And speech is so powerful that I tell you something and you'll feel it. If I say there's a snake there, immediately you will feel fear. Correct? They say, oh my gosh, there's a snake. Now you haven't seen the snake, but you will feel fear. If I say there's going to be amazing pizza tomorrow, you already feel like, very delicious in your tummy. Seen the pizza, but you'll feel it in you. So speech has this power to actually evoke these emotions in you. That's why when we watch a movie or when we watch a play or something, we feel the emotions. We get this wrong thing, goosebumps we get already. And when we listen to bhajans or kirtan, sometimes when we have bhajan, that session, everybody's so hyped up, we get taken on to some different world altogether. Huh? So she is so important. And so the first thing she says is anudvega karam, no disturbing speech. Now she says satyam, and the satyam is represented by the swan. Speech should be true, truthful. Swan can separate milk from water, can separate that which is true from not true. Now, how many of us actually speak the truth? How many of us actually speak the truth? Do you know, I heard this happen? You heard. But is it true or not? We don't know. I heard this happen. Or sometimes somebody will ask you a question. I think this is what, do you know what it is or do you think this is what it is? Right? How many times have we said, yeah, I'm 5 minutes away. Where are we? 20 minutes away. Everyone, right? All of us do that. All of us do that. Yeah. We've said, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it. You know what happened? For sure I'll come. For sure I'll come. Yeah, definitely. No show. Huh? Flake. People flake.
This is a personal attack.
This is so our speech actually, very little of it is true. If we actually analyze, many times we're exaggerating. I waited for you 2 hours. Not 20 minutes you were there. That's it. Or my flight was so long, so long. It's not that long. It's not that serious. I have such excruciating pain. It's like a little bite. Come on now. Huh? So many times we exaggerate things, we twist things. There's so much actually asatya in our language. And that's why they don't hold any weight. We wonder why nobody listens to us. This is why there's no truth in our words. Back in the day, their words were so true that in the court of Dhritarashtra, when Arjuna said, I will kill people, when Bhima said, I will vanquish all of the Kauravas, Dhritarashtra was shivering. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't eat because he knew once Bhima said, I will vanquish all the Kauravas, Bhima will do it. No doubt. That's how powerful the words were. So words should be satyam, true. Know that they're actually true. We're actually speaking the truth. Then they hold some water. One of Gurudev's names is Satya Sankalpaya Namaha. Why? Because he was so true in his speech that whatever he said manifested. This is the power of Satyata. When people have Satya, whatever they say, it will come true. So Satyam. Now, words should not only be true, but the Veena tells us they should be priyam. they should be spoken out of love. It's spoken from a place of love. It doesn't mean that we don't scold. It doesn't mean that we don't maybe raise our voice if required. But it's always coming from a place of love because we love the person, because we care for the person. That is why we're telling the person this. So this priyam comes in hand with hitam. She's holding the Vedas because she speaks only what's beneficial for us. She doesn't speak what is not beneficial. Now, if somebody here were to sit and tell us, if I were here to sit here and tell you, in New York City, there is this one restaurant and this is how you go. You take this subway and you take the subway and this is how you go. This is not beneficial. It's a complete waste of your time, right? Or if you tell me about this particular show, which this happened and that happened and this happened, and you tell me a whole story, a complete waste of my time also, right? I mean, there's no lesson. There's some very beautiful movies, very beautiful shows that have powerful lessons. But if you tell me something which is completely nothing related to becoming better, to developing oneself, or not even making us laugh, it's not beneficial at all. So speech must also be hitam. What is beneficial for that other person, that I should speak. If it's not beneficial, then why should I say it? Right? So satyam, priyam, and hitam. Now, if a young child asks you, now, how did this world come to be? Now, if a young 3 or 4-year-old asks us, how did this world come to be? We will not say, this world is all Maya, it doesn't really exist, and this and that. That's not beneficial for the 2-3-year-old. You say, Brahmaji created this world, and this is how he made it, and this is what he put there. This is how you would speak to a 2 or 3-year-old. But if somebody who is of that kind of stature, of that intelligence asks you, how did this world come to be? Then we can say something else. So hitam also means age appropriate. According to that person's age, that's how we should speak. Then mitam. She's holding a japa mala to tell us that our words should also be measured. Not that sometimes we speak on and on and on and on and on and on about nothing. There was one Amma. She would always speak on the phone 1 hour. 1 hour. Anybody she spoke to, 1 hour. There's some people like that we know. If this person calls, how 1 hour of my time is gonna go. We know, right? We know. So like that, so 1 hour. So one day she spoke on the phone only 30 minutes. So everybody asked her, why 30 minutes? She said wrong number. That's why. Like, just keep talking. I could go on and on and on. Sometimes our speech is also too short. Our parents will ask us, how are you? Good. What did you do today? Nothing. They want to make conversation and we're just like, okay, whatever. How was your trip? Yeah, it's fine. That's it. They want to make conversation. We don't even want to speak. So metta means we should know how much to speak to whom. Then this is Bhagavan Vedavyasa. It's amazing. He had that ability to elaborate in all the Puranas. Just see all the Puranas, how he elaborated. But when it comes to Brahma Sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa, that's all. That's all. Shastra Yonitvat, then you have to think about what he's saying. So this skill also we should learn. So in Goddess Saraswati, the whole science of speech is there. That's satyam through her sman, priyam through her veena, hitam through the Vedas, and mitam through her japamala. She herself tells us how to speak. Goddess Saraswati, there is some interesting incidents in Ramayana. So I'm sure you all know the story in Ramayana. Now, what happened to Kumbhakarna? How is it that he ended up sleeping for 6 months? So there's one story that says all of these Rakshasas were getting so strong. I told you Rakshasas, their main thing is tapasya. They can do tapas better than any of us because they want greater worlds, they want greater things. So Kumbhakarna did a lot of tapasya. And what did he want? He said he wanted Indra Asana. Indra Asana means he wanted to be on the throne of Indra. So now Brahma, he was going to ask this, and Brahmaji was panicking, saying, now Kumbhakarna is going to ask for Indra Asana, Indra Asana. What should I do? Saraswati Devi, do something. So when Kumbhakarna was speaking, she changed it, Nidra Asana. So he got the throne of sleep. And so that's how Nidra Devata came to Kumbhakarna, and he started sleeping 6 months. 6 months he would sleep, and it would be very difficult to wake him up. So she has the ability to play with speech. And that is also how mantra was there in Ramayana. Now, how did her mind get polluted? The Devatas prayed to Saraswati and said, listen, there is this Ravana. He needs to be vanquished. Do something. Please help us. Please help us. We have to get Rama to the forest. So she said, okay, fine, but I'll have to find somebody who I can play with. And that was mantra. So Saraswati went into mantra, and that is how mantra started speaking about this. And so Kaikai in Ramayana, she also had a role to play. Sometimes we blame Kaikai, it's Kaikai's fault. But actually, in the whole big picture, the Devatas planned it. They planned it because they had to get Sri Rama to the forest. And that's why when Kaikai meets Sri Rama later, she tells him that I am so sorry that I had to perform this role. And he says, I know you had to perform this role. And therefore, I don't have any hatred for you. I don't have any grudge for you because I know this is what you had to do. That's why he never had a grudge for her. Then the Devatas were very happy because Sri Rama is going to the forest. Then Bharata came home, and Bharata said, I'm going to call Rama back home. The Devatas all panicked. Panic. Okay, Bharata is going to call Rama back home. What do we do? Saraswati Devi, please go to Bharata. She said, I will not touch Bharata. He is too pure, and he prays to me. He invokes me every time he speaks. I will never touch him. I will only bless him. And so when Bharata went to Chitrakoot, before he spoke to Sri Rama, he invoked Saraswati Devi, and she blessed him. That may his speech be pure and may it be beautiful. So Saraswati Devi, when she is invoked in the right way, she really blesses people. There is another story of Shachi. Shachi is the wife of Indra Devata. Indra Devata. Now, at one time, Indra Devata went to do tapasya. So he had to leave all his responsibilities. And the Devatas were thinking who to put in Indra Devata's place, who to put in his place. And they selected Nahusha. Nahusha was a king, very noble, very virtuous. They selected Nahusha. They said, Nahusha, you do it. So Nahusha said, very good. But absolute power corrupts. And Nahusha got corrupt. He took advantage of everything, and he wanted to take Shachi. He wanted Shachi to be his wife. And Shachi said, nothing doing. I am Indra's wife. And so she prayed to Goddess Saraswati. She said, now you please help me because this Nahusha, he's so strong, he's so powerful, he wants me to be his wife. I don't want to be with him. She prayed to Saraswati Devi. Saraswati Devi said, don't worry, I'll bless you. You do this. Follow me. So Saraswati Devi gave her some instructions, and Shachi said, okay. So Shachi called Nahusha and said, oh, Nahusha, all the gods have vahanas. Bhagavan Vishnu has Garuda. Shiva has Nandi. Everybody has a vahana. You also must have a vahana to come to me. So you must come to me in a palanquin. And not any ordinary palanquin, but a palanquin which is carried by sages. You come to me in that. Nahusha said, okay, no problem. He called all the sages. He said, I need to come in a palanquin and you need to carry me and we will go to Shachi. He said, okay. Now, Agastya Rishi was one of the sages. And when they were carrying Nahusha, they were quite slow because palanquin is slow. It's not like a Garuda or like a Nandi. It's not like a lion like for Durga Devi. It's not any of this. So he was very upset. This is so slow. Not only was it slow, it was uneven because they have uneven heights. So how do you expect it to be even? So he kept saying, Sarpa, Sarpa. Sarpa means go quickly, go quickly. Sarpa, Sarpa. But Sarpa also means snake. So he kept saying Sarpa. And so they kept quiet. The sages kept quiet. Again he said, Sarpa, Sarpa, Sarpa. And then Agastya cursed him. May you become a Sarpa. And that Nahusha became a Sarpa. And he said, only when you meet Yudhishthira, then you will be free. And so that Nahusha became that Sarpa. And Shachi was free. So in this way, in so many ways, we see Goddess Saraswati blesses us in speech. Goddess Saraswati is also Medha Shakti. Medha, we saw the name Medha, the goddess of memory. So it is said once Yajnavalkya, the great sage Yajnavalkya, very, very smart. His guru cursed him once that he would lose his memory. And so he went to Surya Devata, and Surya Devata taught him whatever he could. And Surya Devata said, you pray to Saraswati Devi to get your memory back. And so in Devi Bhagavad, there is actually a stuti of Yajnavalkya to Saraswati Devi, praising her to get his memory back. And indeed he did. And he became the great Rishi Yajnavalkya. Now, why is memory so important to us? Because if we look at our lives are based on our mind, on what we experience with our mind. But not so much what we know, what we remember. If you and I take how many years have you all lived? How many years?
20, 25,
20,
23,
23, 21.
26.
Okay, so let's take 20. Okay, 20 years. Now, out of those 20 years, how many years do you remember?
0.5.
2.5 hours. One Bollywood movie you remember.
Yes.
In one Bollywood movie, you can make your whole life story, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. 20 years you and I have lived, but we don't remember all of it. We barely remember any of it, actually. So our life, so who is Sandhya? Who is Vikas? Your memory. Finished. That's who you really are, your memory, because you are who you remember yourself to be. So our lives depend on what we remember. There are people who choose to remember very tragic events in their life, and they hold that. And that becomes a traumatic experience for them. They cannot let go. So there are people who remember sadness, remember sorrow, remember grudges, remember anger. And when people live their lives remembering this, then their lives are very heavy, they're very sad. But when we choose to remember the great things in life, then our lives are very blessed. So Saraswati Devi is there to tell us, remember the great things in life. What do we remember? One is we remember the greatness of people in our lives so that we always have gratitude. The greatness of our parents, of our siblings, of our friends, of our teachers, of our gods, goddesses, of all of that. Remember their greatness. So that presence is always in our lives. Another thing that we can remember is the teachings of our scriptures. In that shloka in Bhagavad Gita, it says, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam hitam chayata. How do we make our speech beautiful? Satyam hitam is through Swadhyaya and Abhyasa. Swadhyaya means studying the scriptures. Abhyasa means constant practice, constant chanting, constant japa. This is what we should remember. Remember the name of Bhagavan. Remember our scriptures. Remember these powerful teachings because they keep us grounded. And whenever we forget them, we fall. We will find that our falling, our failing is always in forgetfulness. Another thing we can remember is those great lessons in life that we learn through our own experience. So not only Shruti, but our own Anubhuti. We have gone through so many things in life, we learned. Simple things. This food I'm allergic to, I should stay away from. This road is very traffic. I know it to be traffic. I shouldn't take it. This person, whenever I'm with this person, something happens to my mind. My mind just goes a totally different way. I should stay away from that person. I should stay away from that thing, that kind of sound, that kind of environment. These things we should remember. Remember the lessons. And for this, remember those things which are very inspiring. Whatever inspires you, whatever lifts your spirit, remember that. And when we keep our memory in that, in those good moments, that is that Medha Shakti. Medha Shakti is also Grantha, Artha, Dharana Shakti. That ability to hold the words, the Grantha, and the Artha, and the meanings of things. That's called Medha Shakti. So this is also Saraswati Devi. And in the Vedas, there's a Suktam. You've all heard of Medha Suktam? Yashandasam Rishabho. Whoever chants that said that people who chant that again and again, their memory actually improves. Like for Lakshmi Devi, we have that Kanakadhara Stotram. For Saraswati Devi, we have that Medha Suktam. So she's that goddess of memory. Now, not only the goddess of memory and speech, but she's also the goddess of harmony, of music, of creativity. And in our lives, it's not just about musical instruments or dance or art like what we did downstairs, but this harmony is about creating internal harmony. That also comes with the blessings of Saraswati Devi. Gurudev writes that in and through our personalities, we have so much of dissonance. We have our physical personality, we have mental personality, intellectual personality, and spiritual personality. And a lot of times they're in dissonance, wherein, let us say, if I am supposed to wake up at a certain time, the body in the physical level just doesn't want to get up. And emotionally, the mind is also feeling it's too cold. I don't want to get up. And the intellect is saying you have to get up. It is the right time. And the spiritual personality is saying, I am a seeker. This is my sadhana. I have to do it. And so we find that at 4 different levels, they're all saying different things. And this happens to us all the time. And because they're in this harmony, we're unable to act. We take too much time to act. Should I sleep? Should I wake up? Should I sleep? Should I wake up? I don't know what I should do. And we're barely able to move in life. But when we are guided by the spiritual personality, then there's absolute harmony. When we are centered on the spiritual personality, the spiritual goal, that this is the goal of my life. The goal of my life may not be moksha for now. It's okay. But maybe it's evolution. Maybe it's development. Maybe it's becoming pure. Maybe it's becoming more noble. If the goal of my life is centered on that spiritual personality, then there is harmony that's created. And this harmony is the true music. So true music isn't just that which is coming through an instrument or through a dance, but I myself should be in complete harmony. And when I am in complete harmony, that blessing is also Goddess Saraswati. So Goddess of harmony. She is also the goddess of knowledge, the goddess of learning. So you all know the story of Adi Shankaracharya ji. He established the matas, the 4 matas. And one of them is the Sringeri Mata. And how did he establish this? He saw, Sringeri is in Karnataka, the south. He saw here that there was a snake and a frog together. There was a snake which was covering and protecting a frog which was pregnant. As he was walking, he was doing his padayatra. He saw this and he said, this must be a very auspicious place because these are, the snake usually eats the frog. But here the snake is protecting that pregnant frog. So therefore, I will establish Sringeri Mata here. And this Sringeri Mata will be known as Sharada. Sharada. So after Saraswati. And so this Mata is Sharada Pitam. And in this Sharada Pitam, the Vakya is Aham Brahmasmi. So each Pitam has a Vakya. And this is the lineage from which Chinmaya Mission also comes. And you will see in these 4 matas, there's the order of Dashanami Sannyasins. So there are 10 different names that the sannyasins take, depending on where they are. So different matas, different names are assigned to different matas, and it's also depending on where you are. So let us say some sannyasins are in charge of spreading this knowledge in the mountains. So their names will end with Giri. So you've seen Giri, or Swami so-and-so, Giri. Some sannyasins are in charge of spreading this wisdom in the cities. So you'll see Puri, so-and-so Puri. Or some Tirtha, some in Tirtha Kshetras, they have to be there. And some are Saraswati. Saraswati, when their last name is Saraswati, means that their thing of knowledge is to study, is to preserve the Shastra. That is what they're supposed to do. So in Chinmaya Mission, when somebody is ordained into sannyas, a Swami, a Swamini, their last name would always be Saraswati. So we have Swami Chinmayananda ji, Saraswati. So even there, Saraswati Devi comes as that learning, as that vidya. So she symbolizes all knowledge, all learning that we get in our life. That's why also in Navaratri we have Saraswati Puja. Usually on the 9th day of Navaratri, what would happen is we would put all of our books in the altar, all of our books, all of our instruments, whatever instruments we have, and we worship them. We do Saraswati Puja because we say that please bless all of this. And may we also make use of this knowledge to the best of our abilities. On that day also, in some places, they do Ayudha Puja, right? So all their weapons, they also worship. Their vehicles, they also worship. You would have seen in Bharat, the auto rickshaws, they'll put the garland, chandan, kumkum, agarbati, every day, dhupam, deepam, they'll put all of this, right? Because this is a vehicle that I'm going to use, so may it take me towards that which is noble. So people also, not only in Saraswati Puja or Ayudha Puja, when people buy a new car, you see that they go and do puja. I hope whoever is getting a new car here, first you take it to the mandir and you do that puja because this is a vehicle that I'm going to treat as Saraswati. Now, not that I'll go speeding and do this and do that, all kind, keep my car in a complete mess. Remember, that is Saraswati. So in our culture, in our books and everything, we never step on them. Because we say that is Saraswati. That is our respect for knowledge. So she comes as the goddess of knowledge, goddess of learning. One important aspect of Saraswati Devi is also Gayatri. So everybody knows Gayatri mantra. I'm sure you've all heard of Gayatri Mantra. And there's a story of Swami Vidyaranya before he was known as Madhava. Madhava would chant the Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri Mantra, also the personification of Gayatri Mantra is Gayatri Devi. So Gayatri Mantra personified is Gayatri Devi. And Madhava would chant and chant the Gayatri Mantra because he was very, very poor. So he was chanting for wealth, to get wealth. Devi came to him and said, I will not bless you in this birth. Next birth, I will bless you. So he stopped chanting. He got so much vairagya. He said, I'm taking sannyasa. He took sannyasa and he became Swami Vidyaranya. Now, after he left everything, he took sannyasa. Devi came to him, said, now I'll bless you. Why will you bless me now? You said in the next birth. She said, you took your next birth, sannyasa. And he said, but I don't want anything from you. She said, no, now that you have called me earlier, I have come to bless you. And now that I have come, I will give you something. I will not leave without giving you anything. So she said, I will give you a wealth of knowledge. May you always have this deep, deep knowledge, and may you be well renowned all throughout. And so his name is Swami Vidyaranya, the forest of knowledge. And it is this Swami Vidyaranya who has written this text called Pancharashi. I don't know how many of you have heard that text. Pancharashi is a text of 15 chapters, each very, very beautiful. The first 5 chapters on Sat, next on Chit, the next on Ananda. So this is how she has come to place. So all of these aspects are of Saraswati Devi. So anytime that we think of sound, we think of speech, we think of music, we think of creativity. Anytime we think of memory, what is to be remembered. Anytime we think of harmony, creativity. And anytime we think of knowledge, it is only this Saraswati Devi. And we see her in our lives as that which gives us that ultimate knowledge. Her Vahana is the Hamsa. Hamsa is to tell Saha Aham, that I am that. That is the ultimate knowledge that she gives us. And in that, she sets us free to go even beyond Durga Devi, beyond Lakshmi Devi, and beyond Saraswati Devi. So this much is Goddess Saraswati. Okay, we will conclude here. We'll say the closing prayer, and then if anybody has questions, we'll take that. Oh, Purnamada, Purnamidam,
Purnamidam, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.